Hello, sexy, and welcome to episode 42 of Explode Your Coaching Business podcast, brought to you by gtex.org.uk. I am your host, the hummus lover, Simone Vincenzi, and this is the podcast for coaches, speakers, and trainers who want to grow their businesses by making an impact in the world. To receive daily support, because sometimes building a coaching and speaking business can be a very isolating and lonely experience, and in particular you might not even know what the heck you're doing in the process, then join our Facebook group, which is Explode Your Coaching Biz. You will find the links in the show notes, and I'll be there helping you every single day. Yippee! Also, once you join, just because I'm that nice, I will give you the ultimate selling from the stage checklist, which is the most comprehensive checklist to create a pitch that sells from the stage without being a douchebag and all the doing the running at the back of the room stuff. How does it sound? Great! So join the Facebook group now so that I can send it over. Today, I have the pleasure to interview the one and the only Andreas Jones. Andreas is the founder of Combat Business Coaching, with the #1 best-selling author of Business Leader Combat. He's a business strategy, leadership consultant, and he contributes at Forbes, The Huffington Post, Lifehack.org, BizCatalyst360.com, and Army Combat Veteran. Andreas works with business owners and business leaders to help them build high-performing businesses so they can have more profits, funds, and freedom and thrive in any economy. This interview is really exciting because we talk about the power of systems in your business, how to grow and scale corporate companies, and much, much more. So if you want to get in touch with Andreas as well, there are all the links in the show notes and our blog, which is www.gtex.org.uk/episode-42. Also, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet to our podcast, what the heck are you waiting for? You know your life will be better as a result of it, right? And also you will become instantly more attractive, and you will attract more men and women to you. So subscribe right now. And if you want to reach out to me with any question and say, you know what, I have a question for this crazy dude Simone, you can contact me at simone@gtex.org.uk. That comes straight into my inbox, and with that, let's start the music. And welcome to another episode of Explode Your Coaching Business Show. Here is Simone Vincenzi, your host, and today I'm here with Andreas Jones. How are you, Andreas?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am incredibly well. I know you just came from a meeting, so from a meeting to the podcast, as it seems you have quite a busy life.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, yeah.
I can say that. Now, Andreas, tell us a bit more about your background so we can get to know each other a bit better.
Yeah, so part of my background is that so both my parents are small business owners, so I grew up around business and entrepreneurship and see my parents, start their own business, and that was how they provided for me and my brothers.
Right.
I then went off and served in the military, left the military, went into the corporate world, then transitioned out of corporate world into my coaching consulting business. So that's kind of a short trip, just brief synopsis of my journey.
Yeah.
And my background is that I've combined, my young adult life with my professional experiences with the military corporate world, and just being able to see and gleam into those arenas has really taught me a lot, and those are just some of the things I teach my clients.
That's brilliant. And I asked you before we go in delving deeper into your marketing and leadership, what I would love to ask you is how was growing up with your parents being entrepreneurs? Because the majority of the people that I interview, they don't come from actually a family of entrepreneurs. They kind of walk their own way, and they learned almost from nothing and didn't have that background that was encouraging entrepreneurship. So how was for you having your parents being entrepreneurs?
I think it was a great and unique experience. As you said, a lot of people are not lucky to have that. So I was incredibly lucky and blessed to have that background and have parents with that drive which just taught me a lot about personal accountability and responsibility, and and ultimately leadership. Because that's how I have six brothers, so it was
What?
seven boys on my parents, so they
Oh
had
my,
to.
seven
So
boys.
business had to be relatively profitable for them to take care of us and provide for us. So I've seen a lot of time they've struggled with some stuff. I've seen the successes. I've seen them cry. I've seen them laugh, and so that was a great experience for me growing up and being able to pull from those experiences and kind of explain some of that to clients and expectations and stuff like that.
Yeah, was it never a time where like you saw that you was thinking, oh my god, like will they be able to provide for all of us, or like how was your perception growing up? It was like all roses and flowers. They were like really tough times, like our business goes.
Yeah, it was a mixture of both. I've seen times when the business was very profitable, and I've seen times when um, it was really slow, and they had to get creative and trying to figure out a way to still pay the suppliers and pay employees and all that stuff. So I've seen the best of both worlds.
Wow, and that shaped you in the man you are today.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
so in terms of when I asked you before, what are your strongest point? You said that without shadow of a doubt, marketing and leadership. So let's start with leadership and talking about how why is leadership important, and in particular, I'm as coach, I'm a speaker, I'm starting out, like I don't do I need to lead, or is that just something that I will need to develop, for example, when I have a team? How does this work if just starting out, or I'm a small business owner?
Yeah, so I like to tell people all the time that the most potent form of leadership is self leadership. You have to be able to lead yourself first, first and foremost.
Right.
And that start by having your personal vision and goals, and holding yourself accountable and being responsible for your actions, for your thoughts, and for the direction of your life. And so that's kind of the foundation of leadership for me, which I teach at before you start thinking about leading an organization, leading a team, leading a department. How about figure out how you lead yourself first? How do you show up every day? How are you showing up 100% going to work? Are you showing up, late and stuff like that? So it's
Yeah.
about taking that the first step is to figure out to lead yourself, to get yourself to a level where then you can become an example and a benchmark for the people you want to lead.
Yeah.
I think one of the greatest compliment any leader could have is to have someone on their team or someone they're leading is like, man, I want to be just like you when I become a leader. That's a great compliment. That means you're doing something right and you're making an impact.
Definitely. And has there ever been a moment for you where actually not there's ever been a moment. Let's say where was the moment where you had to really pull things together and like really lead yourself towards something? Did it ever happen like a very tough moment that you had
Yeah,
to use all this?
yeah. So I remember when I graduated boot camp and went home to my home base, and the first day there, I met with my with my captain, and I got assigned $20 million worth of equipment and goods. And
Uh,
he said,
uh,
that's your responsibility. I'm like, what? I'm
good,
just 18 years old, $20 million.
good
And so,
morning.
yeah, so that was incredibly tough experience for me because at 18 years old, I've never, been like responsible for anything like that. So just being able to say for my captain to say, that's your responsibility. You're accountable for it. I had a pretty short learning curve, and had to really put the pieces together as soon as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And one of the ways I did that was by masterminding with other people who who did it before me, who were doing it and stuff like that, just to get the expectation and understand the experience.
That sounds really fascinating. In particular, thinking about the average 18-year-old today.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
absolutely.
I'm thinking about, for example, my brother is 20-year-old, and he never left home up until this time. So, like,
Wow.
some people can at this age can barely cook and can barely uh, like warm their milk, and you got given a $20 million stuff. So it's
Yeah, absolutely.
now, talking about self leadership, what are some tips that you can give to people that want to start to be better leaders of themselves? Because I'm sure that we can all agree, even if you're starting out as a coach or a speaker or a trainer, then you, as you said, Andreas, you got to show up every day, and you cannot show up late, even if you're working
Yes.
for yourself.
Yeah, I'll say the number one advice I could give to any new leader, established leader, just any leader, if you have leadership aspiration, is to be accountable. Be accountable to yourself, to be accountable to your dreams, to your aspirations, to your visions, and let that be your guiding. Let that be your guiding factor. So you set yourself a vision, a goal, and hold yourself accountable to that. Because if you can't accomplish it for yourself, think about the implications of if you can't set a goal and work towards it. What's the message you're sending to yourself and everyone else around you?
Mm.
So just hold yourself accountable. Don't make excuses. So I always tell my team when I was in the corporate world is that don't ever come to me and complain to me about something without a solution. So you can complain to me, but you have to provide me a solution also.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
that made them accountable to say, okay, I don't like this. So okay, what are we going to do about it? You can tell me you don't like it all day, but that still doesn't fix the problem. So
Mm.
I tell them that don't come to me and complain unless you have a solution. And that I put the ball in their court to be creative and make their own suggestions and shape the workplace how they wanted it. So if there's something they didn't like, and they'll say, Andreas, I didn't like this. I say, okay, so how do we fix it? And some things I could do right away, some things I have to get approval for. But the implication is that you don't complain and just leave it at the complaint. You have to complain, question the status quo, of
Yep,
course,
yep.
and then provide a solution.
That's how we grow. That's how we can change and make things better. And talking about accountability, I think is a very fascinating topic. Do you think is more, let's say, is better and more impactful internal accountability, which means I'm accountable to myself, or
Hmm.
external accountability, which means I'm accountable to someone else? What do you think is more powerful?
I think it's a combination of both. So I hold myself accountable, but also I have three accountability partners that
Right.
I've surrounded myself with people who are not going to accept me failing.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way with them. So we have our weekly calls, our weekly accountability calls, and you don't want to be the one on the call saying I didn't do anything, because it was just that they took a stand for my dream and said I'm not going to let you fail on your dream or your vision, and I do the same thing to them. But I also have to, with them holding me accountable, I also have to get up and do something every day towards my golden dream.
Mm. So it's a mixture of both, and I think you're definitely right. And also, I believe it's a matter of personalities as well. I think there are people that are more internally motivated, some people that are more externally motivated.
Oh,
I, I,
absolutely.
ju-
So that's why I say do both.
yeah,
So you have yourself covered on both ends.
indeed. I personally, for myself, I'm more externally motivated because I'm very competitive. So, for
Hmm.
example, if I'm working from home and if I'm doing stuff by myself, I can be actually pretty slow and not get much done. But when I'm in an environment where I have other people and I got to show, I don't know, I got to prove myself. I just got this stuff of proving myself that I got to be the best, and I am the best. So I play on this. I say, okay, this is how I roll. I'm just going to always go into an environment where there are other people, and I get more done than everyone else.
No, absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
So I think the part of knowing yourself and knowing your strengths and weaknesses, they're crucial. Mm,
Oh, absolutely.
Talking about marketing now, Andreas, we were talking about from leadership. We are doing a quick jump on marketing.
Hmm.
Where do you think is marketing moving, in particular for coaches, speakers, and trainers? Where do you see that? What are the current trends that you have experienced, and what to teach to your
So
clients?
the current trends, as we know, Facebook has become, just just like the end all be all when it comes to digital marketing. I mean, the whole digital marketing space is just huge for everyone. And you're seeing now multi-billion-dollar companies advertising on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and everything else in between. And
Mm,
so one of the messages I give to coaches and anyone else in business is that, um, because the marketplace is so crowded and noisy, you got to make sure that your message is precise, that it's clear, and that you're meeting your potential clients or customers where they are. You got to go where they are and find them. It's
mm,
no longer the building and they'll come mentality that's obsolete at this point in time because there's so many options, and you have to get the aim of marketing is to make your product or service the only choice to the customer.
yes.
So you got to present it in a way that even though there's 100 other coaches, they're like, I have to work at Andreas or I have to work at Simeon.
Yeah. And how do you make your message? I think uh, something that you said is about making your message specific, making your message very clear. And a lot of people struggle with the clarity and creating clarity with their message. So, what do you think are the components of a clear message so that our guys can take notes and almost like fill in the blanks?
Yeah, so I guess the objective of clear messaging is to know who you want to work with. So what part of how I found my messaging and how I found my who I wanted to work with was I when I started out coaching, I coached 5 people for free, and what I've learned, and that is, there's this one person who always showed up on time, was always doing the work, and there's this person who wasn't, and I was like, oh, I want to work with that guy who's always doing it. And then I figured out, okay, what is it about this guy that I could find in other clients? And that's how I experimented with my message to get it right, to where I my clients are excited, I'm excited, and it makes for better working relationship. But the ultimate thing is to figure out exactly who you want and who you don't want. So I always tell people to figure out who they don't want first.
Okay.
So that kind of clears it out. So you know that you're not looking for that, and then what's left, you could tighten that up as much as you want. But you can't be all things to all people. It's just not necessary.
And how can you make sure that you are communicating what you don't want and what you want to your market? Because I think if I know it, then that's good. But how do I make sure that also my market knows it?
Well, you got to understand their mindset. You got to understand what they're looking for. So most of the times, coaches and consultants and experts, they're always talking about themselves, and it's
Yep.
never from because you got to understand that when a prospect client comes across you, you have about 5 to 6 seconds before they see what they see and move on. And so if you're never addressing their problem and providing the solution, more than likely you're going to skip past you and trying to find someone else who does that.
Mm. So
So it's like an automated HR system that when you put in a job application, the person say, okay, I want you to search all the resumes with these keywords, and then everything else, you send a letter, we review the resume, but we don't want to hire you. And so that's what happens. You have 1,000 people put in their resumes, and the system is going through. Okay, that's not a match. That's not a match. That's because it doesn't have the keyword. It's not answering the problem that the employer wants to solve.
Mhm. So is really making sure that I think it is a great analogy as well in terms of your marketing message. Make sure you're using the right keywords.
Yeah,
Make sure that you're using the right keywords that that are resonating with your audience, because our brain is almost like that software.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I'm looking for this for X. If I hear Y, it's not for me. So
It
bye.
doesn't match. Yeah.
That's brilliant. I absolutely love it. What kind of clients do you work with? What kind of do you work more with the people, small business owner, organizations? What are your main clients?
So at this point in time, I'm working with both individuals and organizations, but my ultimate goal, which is what I'm working on, is to focus more on organizations. Just because of a lot of the stuff I learned in the military, it's easy to teach that in organizations versus an individual, and I feel like I can make a really bigger impact if I'm able to train 100 people in an organization, do a workshop in an organization or something like that. I just feel that that's a big impact for me at this point.
And what kind of organizations um, mainly, and or what are they? What Let's rephrase the question. What are the organizations that hire you struggle with the most?
So they're struggling. They're growing. They're grown. They are getting good business, but they're having high turnover rates. They don't have the right leaders in place in key positions to drive the vision and be strategic thinkers and thought leaders within the business. Versus they have managers who's just seeing just numbers every day, and that's all they see. They don't see
Yeah,
the
yeah.
vision. They don't connect with the people, and you have employees who are not happy showing up to work every day or don't feel like they're making a contribution in any way. So those are a lot of questions a lot of organizations find hard to answer. Is like, how do we create a work experience where employees are fired up and ready to come in every day? And if an organization can figure that equation out, it makes just for a better, more profitable, and a great working culture and workplace.
Yeah, it becomes a ripple effect.
Yeah.
You have an impact in the organization as a whole, as an entity, and the people that also the organization impact as well. So it becomes a massive change. Now,
hmm
I want to ask you more a personal question on why the heck did you get into coaching? Why the heck did you get into mentoring from your military and corporate background? What made you have this transition?
So while I was I got out of the military, transition in the corporate world. I just always had people asking me like, "What do I think about this?" Or I just always had people, because they knew my military background, and I was the first person in my family to join the military. So that was like huge for my family, and of course they told everyone they saw. So like I used to walk, and people like, "Hey, I was in the army," and stuff like that. I was like, oh,
So you were like the
because my
pride of
family
the
would just tell
family.
everyone because I was the first one in the family to join. So they were doing great marketing for me.
Referral and word of mouth.
Yeah, yeah, they were doing great marketing for me.
And then what happened? What happened after? What made you have the shift?
So, I had a mentor, and I explained the situation to him, and it's like, people keep on asking me this and asking for my opinions and asking, just to help them with stuff, and then he started talking to me. He's like, "What if you could do that for a career?" I'm like, I mean, I really enjoy helping people, and I think it just gives me a great feeling to be able to provide solutions to people, and and that's when he started talking to me about the coaching consulting space. And I started investigating it and said, okay, maybe how do I make a career out of this? Because I'm married, I need to still take care of my family.
Yep.
So I had to figure out a way to make it all work together. And one of the biggest reasons for that is my mentor, my coach that I had. I mean, I know I had a mentor coach, but not in the sense of a business coach or whatnot. It was just a more of a personal kind of life coach
Yes.
situation where I needed that accountability, and I needed someone who's kind of been through. My mentor, he was in the military also, so we connected because we were in the military.
Yep.
And he understood the road of coming out of the military, going into the corporate world. So I asked him to mentor me, and he mentored me. And it's built a great relationship where I used to share things, and he's like, "I'm gonna hold you accountable to that." And just out of that military respect,
Yes.
I always make sure I follow through.
Yes,
when
sir.
he gave me things to do. Yeah.
Wow, and now from that transition, I mean, I've seen you've been featured on Forbes. I read actually a couple of your posts on Forbes. Actually, I have one in front of me on which I love, the 5 irrefutable paradoxes of leadership. So guys, if you're going Forbes and check 5 irrefutable paradoxes of leadership from Andreas Jones. It's a brilliant article, and you've been featured on seeing here on Forbes, CNN, the Huffington Post, also Entrepreneurs on Fire. And how this your presence on this media impacted your business?
It's been a great impact from a visibility standpoint. I've been able to really meet and just form relationships with some really great people. And like for instance, the Entrepreneur Fire with John Lee. I met him on Twitter. I found out he was in the military, so I found some common ground with him. We started talking, and I developed that relationship. And just because he saw me, he saw my post on Twitter and whatnot, and he liked it, I was like, oh wow, okay,
That's nice.
yeah, that's nice. So it's great from a visibility standpoint, and it's a great. It has allowed me to open a lot of doors that I never thought was possible.
Like what kind of doors?
So I've been able to open business relationships with it. Like a VP like, oh, I saw your article in Forbes. I was like, oh wow, So I get messages on LinkedIn all the time. Like, you just read your article in Forbes, and I've just been able to meet and have conversations with a lot of great people, which I'm really building my network in a specific way, where I'm starting to build connections within organizations that I like to work with in the future.
I think this is now a great topic where I'm really following the thread of this conversation that we are having. And now we are talking about the importance of network. And you mentioned that you have also accountability partners, that they are kicking your butt to make sure that you get your things done and you keep your promises. You had your mentor. Yes, sir, I'm going to do it. And also you are building your network to get more business opportunities. Now, how do you approach this strategically? Do you have a strategy for this, or do you like, I think this person is cool, let me add this person? How does it work? What's going on in your mind?
I enter every networking relationship with the question, what can I give to this person? So I never enter with the mindset of what can I get from it. I always enter with the mindset, what can I give? Mm-hmm. Sometimes the way I give is to write a great article, and they found it helpful, they found it useful. So I love getting a message, saying, "Oh, I read your article, here, and it really impacted me." That's great. That's a great feeling for me. So I always enter with the mindset of what can I give, how can I serve this person, and then I just believe in the law of reciprocity that you give and you'll get it back.
And in particular, when you're selecting the people to connect with, what's your process for it? How do you know that actually that's a worthwhile person to establish a relationship with, but can be like personal and business wise? How do you select it?
So, so I'm looking for a couple of things. I'm looking for how do they align with my personal values? How do they align with my business vision and what I'm trying to accomplish at that point? I have had to say no sometimes, and that's okay. But I try to make sure it's in congruence with my personal values and my business vision and goals.
So that's your main criteria is does this person resonate with me on a personal level, and is it this person aligned with where I want to go, or can this person help me or going reaching where I want to go?
Yeah, absolutely. Because some relationships that I've started, sometimes I don't get a payoff like right away, but a year or two down the line, it was like, hey, Andreas, I got this come up. Are you available to do this? I'm like, man, I talked to this guy like a year ago. And so, so that's why I want to make sure that I'm in sync with them. So we have some form of commonality. So we are aligned. Because I know that sometimes the payoff is not immediately. Sometimes it's a couple months, a year, or two down the road. And I want to always keep those doors of opportunity open.
And also with social media now, it's almost like we are communicating with each other without communicating.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, that's how I met you. I think I saw you in an interview that you did, and I said, "Oh, actually, I like the content that you shared during that interview. Would you like to come as a guest on my podcast?"
Yeah.
Now, from that moment, your post kept appearing on my feed. Maybe some of my posts were appearing on your feed, and even if I didn't comment or like the post, I'm still watching.
Yeah.
So in a way, I'm still in communication with you, even without you knowing it, and vice versa.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's one of the great, I'll say, magic of social media is communicate without communicating.
Absolutely loved it. So, where do you see the future of the coaching, speaking, and training industry going from your standpoint?
From my standpoint, I think it's going to it's going to be a really great tool and a resource for individuals and companies because, it's just I can't see how. I don't know any successful person who doesn't have accountability, who doesn't seek another perspective on stuff. And I think, just having someone see it from a different perspective from you and matching your perspective of what they're seeing. This is ultra important if you are ambitious, if you're trying to accomplish something, if you're trying to leave a mark in this world. I don't know if a better way to do that without a coach or mentor or just getting that outside, someone to look from the outside in versus what you're seeing every day.
Thank you very much for your answer. It's a question that I asked to many of my guests, and it's really interesting to see where the industry is going, where is the future, because we are old in this, and many people that are starting right now that are listening to this podcast, then they know where to go. They know what kind of steps they can make, and in particular, it's an industry which is growing massively, with the good and the bad of this growth, but it's massively growing. So, guys, make sure you jump on board and do your good in the word. Now, Andreas, it's been an incredible interview. I really loved every single minute. How can people get in touch with you? How can people reach you?
Yes. So the best way to get in contact with me would be on my website at combatbusinesscoaching.com. Again, that's combatbusinesscoaching.com. And you'll find some great articles and videos and all the good stuff there. You find also my social media. I'm at Twitter at the Andreas Jones, at Facebook at the Andreas Jones. So if you ever want to connect with me on social media, those are my handles. And I'm very responsive on social media because it's just a great tool if used wisely. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys.
Brilliant, guys. So make sure you get in touch with Andreas Jones because, as you can see, he knows his stuff. And if you need any help, leadership, marketing, he is the man. Now, Andreas, thank you very much for coming on this interview. Really, really appreciate your time. Took this half an hour out of your busy schedule.
Oh no, it was my pleasure to be here. It was really a great conversation.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Andreas. And for everyone who is listening right now, guys, I hope you enjoyed the interview. I definitely did. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, like right now, immediately. And leave us a comment. Let us know how you're going to implement what you learn from Andreas Jones, maybe in marketing, or maybe how you're going to use social media in a different way. How you're going to connect with people and come from the point of view of adding value and always be there of service. So, guys, thank you very much for listening. And from me and Andreas is everything. See you next time. Ciao.